This is search crafting. Search crafting has been quite a huge topic in the Minecraft speedrunning community for the past few years, but here is why I think I found the best language. The first time I heard about search crafting was when I was watching Silver and noticed that his game was in Bosnian. In Bosnian, you could type in IJ to get all your explosives crafts, which was the beginning of search crafting. During this time, most runners played in Bosnian just because it was the only language that we knew that was good for explosive crafts. We didn't have any way of knowing which language is better than another language. However, as we want to start inventing more and more things, such as this website that literally tells you what language is the best for crafting a specific item, people started going crazy with search crafting. Since then, I've tried out many languages, such as Norwegian, Danish, Luxembourgish. However, I had trouble sticking with them, and that's when I found Yoruba. Okay, so now I'm going to explain why I think Yoruba is probably the best language for search crafting. So I'm going to start off with the search crafting map and just show you a few things. Most of the stuff don't have a lot of junk. I would like to usually call this language English but better, because most of the crafts here are the same in English. There's less junk in this compared to English, which is why I call it English but better. There's also like some unique ones that aren't in English, like the gold pickaxe. I think for the most part it's like quite an easy. Like for example, you can see I'm typing OO for most things. And that's because like OO is pretty much like the selling point of this language. You get bed and you get all your iron tools, which I'll talk more about in the next segment. But one thing I don't like about this, so the reason I have this was because I used to play in Kosh, and there was one keybind that would do ingots and bread, and like that's like something that like you can't really do in this language. Ingots is quite annoying. It's space IN, and then bread is BU, so it's not the best, but it works. So like most of the stuff you'll see here is WN is the main explosive crafts. So this is like what I usually craft in a bastion, and as you can see, it's just so easy. One thing I've learned about search crafting is that I shouldn't be spending too much time thinking about what to type. I should be like, this stuff should be like super easy, stuff that like I could do with my eyes closed. And I feel like with some languages, especially the super complicated languages like Kosh that I used to play in, I feel like I end up thinking too much about what I'm typing, and that just ends up like, that like cramps up your mental really quickly. You can see here, right, like I'm not doing anything too fancy, I'm just typing in 2 letters. I do backspace crafting just because I am used to backspace, because I used to play in like mainly backspace language, and this language is also, I would consider a backspace language also. But like, you don't have to force backspace if you don't have to, pretty much is what I'm saying. There are some things like there's no bucket craft, or like a good one anyway. Not that that's a huge deal. Like most of my overworlds, I would say I don't really search craft too much. But most of like the important things are here. This also has a really nice explosive craft. there's only iron banner as, or there's only banners as a junk item, which is not like, it's whatever. I don't think I've seen a really good language that, I don't think I've seen a language that has both explosives without junk. So I think like just one thing is already good. Again, this language is super easy. Like every overlap imaginable, I think this language has. I'm gonna show you more of that overlap in this map. So the RO thing I was telling you about. RO pretty much has like everything. Bed, golden carrots, and iron ingot. I don't think you can get more smooth than this. And then once you craft the iron ingot, it unlocks all your iron related stuff that like, yeah, you have iron door, you have cauldron, you have an iron hull. And pickaxe sometimes you do need to craft, so I'm not gonna call that junk. But everything you possibly need is in RO, which is just like, that's like the main selling point of this language. And like the thing that like changes this from English, because this is technically English but better, is like it has some things that English doesn't have. So for example, ER for nether bricks, one character wall. And the thing I like about these one characters is that I do backspace crafting, so I could just press backspace once and then just type in the next thing that I want. This language doesn't have the best backspace crafting, and I'll show you why in a second. So I like to do bow always. So bow to bed, right? But there's no anchors if I do this. And if I did need to do anchors, I would have to do control backspace. I know some people press it twice. It depends. Sometimes I press it twice, sometimes I do control backspace. Depends where my hand is. And I do WN. Oh shit. I do WN. And then that gets me the respawn anchors, and then I can overlap that with the pickaxe. So the backspace isn't perfect. But I think for most situations that you need backspace crafting, or like for most situations where you like overlap stuff, this language has pretty much everything. Yeah. The helmet is one character. So then you just do backspace and then go to the pickaxe. And sometimes like it's just so nice that I don't even craft the pickaxe. Which I think is super nice. This language doesn't have a nice iron axe craft. I don't know. I feel like iron axe sometimes is super nice, just only iron axe. But like, I think it's just not a big deal. This has a really good stone axe craft, which I think, I feel like stone axe nowadays is just so freaking good. Same with iron pick. I always do 8. I know like 8 isn't really optimal, but I do 8 for that. I do 8 for a lot of things. This language doesn't have a good bucket craft. Some people care about that. Bow is good in this language. Crossbow's good in this language. Shield. And this is stuff that like I never do, but I'm sure there is a way. I'm gonna link the document to like all the important things that you will probably need. And also nether bricks to wool to glowstone isn't the most. Like like you're gonna have to delete 2 characters. Just craft the bricks like that, like regularly. And then I overlap the wool and glowstone. That's usually how I go, but obviously it's not the most optimal. Also, one thing I don't like about this language is like it's such a hard language to learn, I feel like. I feel like I just cannot like understand anything. This is stone pick. That's iron ingot. Like I guess hardware is the same. Like I don't know. I feel like some of these things are just like incomprehensible. Especially like what looting is and the enchantments. I cannot understand any of the enchantments. So that's one thing I don't like about this language, and it was kind of why I avoided this language initially. Because Kolsch, at least, like it's still like a Germanic language, so you can still somewhat understand it. There's still some similarities to English. But here, right, it's just all of this is gibberish to me. You do get the occasional English, like axe iron and iron pickaxe, but like even that is just not like it's not important. I think like knowing the achievement is more important than knowing how to say iron axe in this language. So that's one thing I also don't like about this language. Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping. This is gonna be like pretty much my Yoruba review. Hopefully this was useful. I don't know. I'm just kind of like showing you this language, this searchcraft language that I've been using and why I like it. So yeah, see ya.